Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. This morning, Fox Business reported that the SEC and Ripple were expected to settle the lawsuit tomorrow. Now, the only problem here, and I'll tell you this at the outset of the video, is that this is false. But they actually did report it, which resulted in, understandably, the XRP communities, in particular in social media, wildly sharing this information and screen grabs. How did this information come to be known? What were the specifics on it? And we kind of got to the bottom of it, but it took a little bit of a time. And so at the time of recording this, in case anyone cares, it's 8:35 a.m. Central Standard Time, and this was aired roughly 2 hours ago, somewhere in that area. So I'll share with you just exactly what happened, but before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. So I came across this tweet. This is the first one that I personally saw from an XRP community member named Crypto Bird Dog. And this individual took a picture of their television showing Fox Business with the banner right here where I'm circling, SEC versus Ripple settlement expected tomorrow. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm not convinced that there's going to be settlement tomorrow. I actually responded right away. In fact, here, I'll show you this. This is my tweet. I responded and wrote, this is at 7:17 a.m., so a little over an hour ago. I wrote, this has to be fake, right? Why would Fox Business report such a thing? And so I'm sitting here and I'm staring at the picture and trying to find out if there's any sort of obvious indication that it was photoshopped, but I couldn't find an indication that it was photoshopped. But I was like, this still just doesn't seem right. But there were then I found that there were other people sharing the same thing. For example, here's somebody else within the XRP community sharing a picture of their TV, the same banner headline there. And here's the third one. So I saw, get to that point, I'm like, all right. So they clearly really did report this, but what are the specifics? And why do they have Natalie Brunell on talking about this? For those of you who are unaware, she is a Bitcoin maximalist, and she's on with some amount of regularity on Fox Business. I'm not really sure why, because she doesn't know what she's talking about. Either that or she's intentionally misleading people. I don't know which it is, but she says a bunch of nonsense about XRP. I saw, I don't know if it was some months ago, they had her on and she was talking about how an XRP itself is a securities, all sorts of crazy stuff. She doesn't understand the legal precedent. She doesn't understand the case law surrounding, the Howey test. She doesn't know the specifics of the SEC v. Ripple case, but she knows that XRP is a security because of reasons. But that's what happens. It's like she's part of the Bitcoin maxi cult. That's basically that's how I view it anyway. So they had her on. She was saying a bunch of, well, came to find out, she was saying a bunch of nonsense again today. So I ultimately did end up coming across a link. And so shout out and credit to XRP community member named ArcadeX, who tagged me along with a bunch of others, who shared the link to this video. So the video is real. I ended up watching it. This clip was 7 minutes and 37 seconds. And around the 6 minute and 5 second mark is when they start talking about the SEC v. Ripple case. And Maria Bartiromo starts talking about it. She says, I believe the way she worded it was, so now you're expecting, you're expecting a settlement in the SEC v. Ripple case tomorrow, and Natalie's just sitting there bobbing her head up, and I'm like, oh, okay, but why? Where's this information coming from? Is there insider scoop? And by the way, sometimes there are insider scoops. Like, we have learned stuff about the SEC v. Ripple case thanks to, like, for instance, Charles Gasparino and Eleanor Terrett. They've got so many connections, and there have been things that we've learned, including how Hester Peirce, that's how we found out, in fact, that Hester Peirce voted against bringing the lawsuit against Ripple. You know, she's one of the commissioners at the SEC. So there are things that we wouldn't otherwise know. So I'm like, well, I guess it's possible that they know something, then they're actually announcing it right now. But why would they do it in this way? Why is Natalie Brunell on, who also doesn't like Ripple or XRP, and she just digs against it all the time? So I was like, what's going on here? So I watched the clip. And then she ended up not explaining. Natalie's just bobbing her head. She says, yes, I expect that. Okay. But then she doesn't explain why she expects that to be occurring tomorrow. In Fox Business, they displayed on the screen, as you can see, not as though it's Natalie's opinion. So I don't know where that came. I don't know why, and I don't know why it wasn't explained. And then Natalie got into a bunch of nonsense. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in just a second here. But that's how the clip ended. She just said some silly things. So Eleanor Terrett, who of course is with Fox Business, She said, she tweeted this at 7:21 a.m. this morning. She said, "I'm looking into this to find out exactly what the specifics are." So she was seemingly surprised by this as well. Why is my employer reporting this? Is this true? And she did her due diligence. And at 8:01 a.m. this morning, so a little over a half hour ago, she tweeted this out. Per a Ripple spokesperson, this morning's report on an expected settlement between Ripple and the SEC tomorrow, November 15th, is false. So, and then she tagged Maria Bartiromo as well as Natalie Brunell. Or is this her show? Mornings with Maria. Yeah, there you go. So it was the show. But anyway, so it wasn't missing. I don't know why that happened, but of all the things that you could report, then there's a ton of XRP community members out there. Can you imagine you turn on TV and settlements expected? We're like, that's the actual news on national television. You're like, what the ever lovely hell? So you got a bunch of people all excited and worked up, and it's all for nothing. It's just kind of a shame. But, oh man, it's ridiculous. So, getting back to, actually, I wanted to mention this too. An XP community member had a thought about why this date might have gotten, might have been stated as a potential for settlement. There's a XP community member named Haroon who wrote to me here and said, "I think they might be confusing the original date for summary judgment, which was November 15th. Jeremy Hogan was expecting settlement by that date, which was being floated around a lot." Yeah, and so I thought that sounded like perfectly plausible, and that you'd think would be why Natalie would be saying what she's saying, especially considering that she doesn't know what she's talking about when it comes to crypto, and she's ill-informed. So there is that. And so I ended up tagging her because I tweeted out, "It's true, Fox Business reported that settlement in the SEC v. Ripple case is expected tomorrow. Maria Bartiromo talked about it, but didn't provide specifics. Then Natalie said a bunch of nonsense about XRP." And this is just a little bit before we found out that it was, in fact, falsely reported by Fox Business. And then in a separate tweet, I tagged Natalie Brunell here and said, "Natalie, I found the..." I need to tell you what the hell she said first. Doing this bass backwards here. Part of what she said, it was this rant, and she was talking about the Howey test. I don't even think she knows how it works, but she was talking about how there's a common enterprise, and she does think that XRP is a security, Ripple's the common enterprise. She cited that, not recognizing, I know she doesn't know what she's talking about. The SEC did initially argue that Ripple's the common enterprise, and then they backtracked, and then they have been saying a bunch of incoherent nonsense about what the common enterprise would be ever since then. But even the SEC isn't asserting that Ripple itself is the common enterprise at this stage in the game anyway. Natalie doesn't know that, but she's talking about it on national television because reasons. But then part of what she said was, if your coin has a CEO, because look, I can go on Ripple's website, I can find the CEO, and if it's pre-mined and all this stuff, then it's really not Bitcoin. And I was like, oh my God, yes, there's more than one coin, and it's not Bitcoin. So I tagged her, and I wrote, "Natalie Brunell, I found the CEO of Strike on the internet. Does that mean that Bitcoin is centralized? Or maybe a company building on top of a decentralized open source software isn't an indication of centralization? Can't believe you said such nonsense about XRP on national TV today." And she did, and it is silly. Of course there are companies that have CEOs building on top of decentralized blockchains that have cryptocurrencies natively attached to them, including Bitcoin, which is why when she cited Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse as, you can find him on the website, I was like, okay, well, what about Strike? Strike's basically a copycat of what Ripple's doing, and their CEO is Jack Mullers. I found him on the internet. So does that mean that it's all centralized? Well, no. The fact that there are developers building on top of a blockchain is a good thing. You want to see that in a thriving ecosystem. It's excellent that people are building stuff on top of blockchains. My gosh. And then the idea that Ripple created XRP, she kept calling it Ripple's coin. That's literally not true. XRP was created, and then Ripple, the company, was formed. Like, these are just basic, provable facts. And then she gets on national TV saying all this nonsense. That's the other reason I wanted to make this video, just to kind of, because I know a lot of people saw this news, I'll just kind of spread the word that it is indeed false, but then also to have an opportunity to refute what she was espousing on national television. It's completely absurd. And this is Strike's website right here. And they're way behind Ripple. They're trying to use Bitcoin and Lightning Network to effectively do what Ripple is doing, but Lightning Network has extreme limitations, whereas on-demand liquidity just actually works. Oh my gosh. And then there was this from a community member named Crypto Arsenal, who wrote, "I found all these guys too. Looks a lot like a company." And he linked to this. Lightning Labs. Look at that. And there you go. There's a CEO and co-founder for Lightning Labs. So again, there's another CEO. That means that Bitcoin has a CEO, because she's literally saying that XRP is a CEO. Like, that is ridiculous. And then which CEO is it? Because there's a lot of different developers building on top of the decentralized XRP ledger. You know, you want to talk about Coil? Is it Stefan Thomas? Is that the CEO? Is it Wietse Wind of XRPL Labs? Is it Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple? And I can go on. You know, it's you know, is it Jay with Spin the Bits? Like, which one of them? Which one of them is the CEO of XRP? Please let me know. This is so dumb as hell. It's just amazing that they're having somebody on national television that literally, easily provably doesn't know what she's talking about. So I'm glad I have my platform to just kind of straighten things out a little bit. So there you go. Unfortunately, the news that was reported on Fox Business, not true. There is no guarantee that settlement will ever happen. I would love for that to occur. But that was a false report, and I appreciate that Eleanor quickly discovered what the truth was. So I don't know why the mistake happened, but stuff happens in reporting. It's just so weird that that was stated, and then, like, you'd think one of them would explain why this is a headline on the damn television screen. Just Natalie's just bobbing her head there. Yeah, because she said, you expect that, and then Natalie doesn't say, yeah, that's right, I expect her. Wait, no, I don't expect that. She's just bobbing her head. Did she tell them that she was expecting it? And if so, why didn't they frame it as though Natalie's the one that's expecting it? Because the banner there doesn't say Natalie expects it. It just says it's expected. That just confuses people. And then this is spread on social media. Really grinds my gears, folks. All right, I'll shut up. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.